Gamer-type originals.
It's time for something brief as we go back in time to examine the birth and life of what may be the best twin-stick shooter franchise ever, Geometry Wars. Given form by bizarre creation Stephen Cakebread, one of a handful of technical staff who was given largely free rein to develop demos at the British developer, Geometry Wars debuted in the best racing game of all time, Project Gotham Racing 2. While the team was busy polishing PGR2 ahead of its holiday 2003 release, Cakebread built a tiny Space Wars-esque shooter and tucked it into an arcade cabinet you could only access if you walked around your virtual garage. The walk-around virtual garage was also a Cakebread invention. In Geometry Wars, you pushed your claw-shaped ship across an arena, firing at various multicolored shapes that would otherwise do you in. It was primitive-looking, insanely difficult, but also incredibly fun. Forget the driving game, let's zap some annoying green diamonds. Bizarre and Microsoft saw the huge potential of a standalone version for the debut of the Xbox 360 and Xbox Live Arcade, a marketplace for smaller bite-sized games that could be delivered digitally through the console. While Cakebread was prodding for a free release, Geometry Wars Retro Evolved was a smash hit when it launched for $5 alongside the Xbox 360 in late 2005. Essentially a polished version of the original game, with a larger play area that took advantage of the console's ability to push polygons and high-definition graphics, the game wasn't as tough to play, which made it easier to enjoy. While the gameplay didn't change much from the original, Retro Evolved saved its quirkiest challenge for its pacifism achievement, which required the player to survive 60 seconds without firing a shot at the growing gallery of geometric bad guys. A huge chunk of the game's fun came from its leaderboards, which challenged you to try just one more time to beat your friend's score. Considering Cakebread was Retro Evolved's biggest budget item and it wound up on so many Xbox 360s, as well as the PC later on, it made sense that Bizarre would want to make a second game. Debuting in 2008 after the developer was purchased by Activision, Cakebread went all out on features, game modes, and trippy, colorful particle effects. The biggest addition was Geomes, which were gold diamonds left behind by vanquished opponents that built your score multiplier. No longer could you simply sprint around in a circle around the map spraying triangular ammunition. You need to run back over the grave sites of your vanquished foes to build your score. Geomes fundamentally changed the game and made leaderboard competitions even more intense. Despite all the crazy additions, like the sequence mode designed to teach you how to combat different enemies, my favorite mode wound up being pacifism. Stripped of your guns, you can only inflict damage short range by passing through exploding gates, making the mode a mad scramble that requires the tightest control of your ship between encroaching swarms. While it seemed blasphemous when Activision brought Geometry Wars to the Wii and the DS when the series had been an Xbox exclusive for its entire life to that point, Bizarre Creations and Stephen Cakebread were platform-agnostic developers. While other teams handled those versions, Cakebread did single-handedly port the game to iPhone in a day. He also told me that Bizarre never really got behind making these smaller, more profitable games, and Bizarre continued to focus on big-budget $60 games that didn't fare well commercially. Activision closed Bizarre in 2011, but resurrected the series with Geometry Wars 3 Evolved under the similarly reborn Sierra branding. It's a solid, flashy game that includes all of the old and a whole lot of new, but the game's biggest fault, something that several fans leveled at Geometry Wars 2, is feature creep. Developer Lucid Games included more game modes than you can imagine, 3D playfields that are interesting to play on until they obstruct your view, progression ladders, upgradable helper bots to help you demolish enemies or gather geomes, and boss battles. It's a bit much. The game is also so in love with its new aesthetic that restarting, which is something you'll be doing often, requires a lengthy level build animation, something that only took a few split-second button presses in older games. While Retro Evolved and the third game are available on more platforms today, in my mind Geometry Wars 2 is the pinnacle of the franchise. Yeah, it has 2 or 3 more modes than it needs, but it's a brutally efficient and gorgeous game that improves on Retro Evolved in every way. If you still have an Xbox 360 hanging around, then this is the edition to own.